we're fortunate we have Michael Tyler, communications director for the Harris-Walz campaign. The last time I talked to you, you were communications director for the Biden campaign, so you stayed on board, and here you are. For people wondering about this, Axios reporting this, Alex Thompson said one longtime Biden aide text, "This is awful. He literally set up a campaign and handed it over to them. Do they have to cut him out of prime time?" I don't think it was deliberate to have him, but it was a pretty late night.
It was certainly a late night. Good morning, and thank you again for having me. Listen, I think what you saw last night, there's no doubt that we got a little behind schedule, but the fact of the matter is that you had speaker after speaker after speaker that was interrupted with applause after applause after applause. And it's because you have a Democratic Party that is, number one, as you saw last night, united in its gratitude to President Biden, united in its support for Kamala Harris, and united in their enthusiasm that they have for this election because they fundamentally understand the stakes. We have less than 80 days to go now to the election, and it's going to be a fundamental choice between the Vice President and Governor Walz, who are fighting for the American people, who are fighting to create opportunity for all Americans, who are standing up for our fundamental rights and freedoms. And on the other side, you've got Donald Trump, who's running for himself as a convicted felon, who wants to tear down the rule of law, wants to tear down the fabric of our democracy. And so that's the stakes for this election, and that's the enthusiasm that you saw in this convention hall last night.
So too many people clapping for too long? Is that what it was?
There was a plethora of enthusiasm.
Are we to buy that? I guess the difference is at the RNC, when things went long, they cut things out to make sure that the program was tight. That wasn't the case last night.
It actually was the case. We had to cut a few elements last night in order to get to the president as quickly as possible so that the American people could see him. We're obviously going to make adjustments today to shorten up the schedule to make sure that we can get to our primetime speaking program as soon as possible. But what you will continue to see, no matter what, is unparalleled enthusiasm.
I would imagine that when the Obamas speak tonight, that there will be a lot of applause, and we could see some of that as well.
Absolutely. We're prepared for that. And I think that's the fundamental contrast between our convention and the last one. What you saw was Democrats, not just Democrats, but Americans across the political spectrum, from Bernie Sanders and AOC to Joe Manchin, and today people like Jeff Duncan and Adam Kinzinger and Stephanie Grisham, who are all united behind this ticket and understand the stakes.
But they had left the Republican Party, right? They made a choice. But I just having been in Republican politics for a while, at the RNC, this past one in 2016, which feels, or I'm sorry, just 6 weeks ago, it felt very much like the Republican Party was more unified than before. What is different is that now they're against a different candidate. And I was wondering, like, you must have a little bit of political whiplash to go from just 4 weeks ago defending and saying Joe Biden has the mental capacity and the ability to be president for the next 4 years. And the next thing you know, 93% of Democrats are saying, actually, no, we're very happy to make this switch.
Yeah, well, listen, there's no question that Joe Biden has been the most consequential president in modern times, and we're very grateful. I think you saw the gratitude for him throughout this convention hall last night. Also, one of the first decisions, the most consequential decisions he made when he became the nominee was selecting Kamala Harris as his vice president because he knew that she would be ready on day one. And that's what you're seeing on the stump since the switch in the ticket, somebody who is ready to take the job, ready to serve as commander-in-chief, and ready to unite this party. It's called the Biden-Harris coalition for a reason. She owns this coalition, and so that's why you've seen her and Governor Walz since July 21st, and since he named her as his running mate, crisscross the country, go to every battleground state. It's why you've seen our staff on the ground. We've got 1,600 staff at nearly 300 offices on the ground, organizing all of these volunteers across the country, making sure that people are ready to go over the course of the last 80 days.
Michael, two things here. I'm listening to your wording very carefully. Do you consider Barack Obama to be a modern president?
Absolutely.
Okay, you just said it. Joe Biden is the most successful and consequential president in modern politics.
If you look at the record of accomplishment from the Biden-Harris administration, from 15 million new jobs to the 800,000 manufacturing jobs that they created, to the work that they did to build off of the Affordable Care Act, to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors, to lower the cost of insulin to $35 a month, that is an unrivaled record of accomplishment.
We'll see what
you have right now is a vice president who's working to build on that record of accomplishment.
Recognizes
the prices are still too high.
We'll see what 43 has to say about that tonight. I thought this comment last night, well past midnight local time, at the local airport was very interesting. Here's Joe Biden.
Are you angry at Nancy Pelosi? Are you going to speak with her?
No, I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. I mean, look, no one influenced my decision. No one knew it was coming. What I decided to do was I didn't want to the extent that the party thought they'd lose Senate seats or House seats, that would have been the topic you would have had to cover the entire remainder of the campaign, and it wasn't worth it.
I think the first line there is critical. I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. She was in the front row last night. They haven't talked?
Well, I can't speak to any of the decisions that they made or any conversations that they may or may not have had. But what I do know is what the president said last night and what he said from the Oval Office, right? That he obviously loves the job of being president, but he loves our democracy more. And that's why he made the decision to step aside, to immediately endorse the vice president, and to be her top surrogate on the campaign trail between now and Election Day, because nobody understands the stakes more than Joe Biden does.
You expect him to be campaigning with her a lot?
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be doing everything in his power to make sure that she serves the next commander-in-chief, that she is the one to uphold our democracy, that she's the one that upholds the rule of law over the course of the next 4 years, because we know that Kamala Harris would do that. We've seen with all the evidence over the course of the past 4 years, frankly, the past 8 years, that Donald Trump will never do those things.
Well, I have a question. One thing you pointed out is
that the president has.
You know, it's in the title, Biden-Harris administration. And any vice president that's going to run for president has to distance themselves a little bit somehow. And on the economy, that's the #1 issue. And I noticed last night this piece from, I think it's called 4/6. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talking about inflation. Watch here.
Because if you are a working parent trying to afford rent and childcare, Kamala is for you. If you are a senior who had to go back to work because your retirement didn't stretch far enough, Kamala is for you.
And that part stuck out to me because we had a woman on the other day. She's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. She was a retired nurse. She retired in 2021. She's looking for work right now to go back to work because she's like, grocery prices and inflation have pushed her to a point that she has to go back to work. And that has happened under the Biden-Harris administration. So I thought that the comment from AOC was a little weird.
Yeah, well, listen, a couple of things. Number one, I think we have to remember that elections are about choices, and we have in Donald Trump on the other side, the man who's the first president to leave office with fewer jobs than when he took office since Herbert Hoover.
Because of the pandemic.
Exactly, and his mismanagement thereof.
You think there wouldn't have been job loss if Joe Biden were president and there was a pandemic?
I think he absolutely would have handled the job of commander-in-chief and serving the best interests of Americans' public health far better than Donald Trump did. But fundamentally, this is about the future, as all elections are, right? And you have in the vice president somebody who is proud of the record of accomplishment, everything I referenced earlier, 15 million jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, the work that they have done to lower costs for Americans over the first 4 years, but who also understands that for many Americans, prices are still too high. That's one of the first policies that she put out was her plan to lower costs. You heard her talk about that in North Carolina. Take on meat processors, make sure that we're lowering the cost of groceries, make sure that housing costs are reduced, right? That we build more housing stock.
They've had a couple years to try and get that done, as you well know.
That we actually create a tax system that is fair to middle-class families, a middle-class tax cut versus what Donald Trump wants to do via his across-the-board tariffs, which is tantamount to a $3,900 tax increase.
Is she for increasing the corporate tax rate to 28%?
You've heard our campaign talk about that. That absolutely billionaires, corporations need to pay their fair share. Not what Donald Trump wants to do, which is more corporate giveaways, more tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy.
But do you concede that most people say that the economy was better for them under Trump than under Biden?
Again, I think what you saw out of Donald Trump was somebody who, by the time he left office, the economy was in a ditch. We'd had unemployment rate, the uninsured rates had skyrocketed by the end of his term, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got to work to clean up the mess that he did. And this race is fundamentally about the future and what type of economy we're going to have. I think the woman that you spoke to is representative of what American people want out of this election. They want a new way forward. They don't want a return to the failed economic approach that Donald Trump had.
She's a retiree who wants a job.
What the American people want, what women like her, that American wants, is an economy that fundamentally works for working people, that works for middle-class people, where we have lower costs. There's only one candidate in this campaign that is actually fighting for that, and that's Kamala Harris.
So
Donald Trump would return
what she's talked about is working on it on day one, and Donald Trump has come back and said, what you've been doing for the last 1,305 days. So we'll see what kind of answer we get this week. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, love having you.
Thank you for taking all our questions. We'll talk to you throughout the week, Mike.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.